could you turn to Devin Booker and have him handle the ball more? Not in the sense of like point book that we saw in the past, but really have him kind of more in that role on a regular basis. I don't know that I love that for Book. I do think he's capable of doing it 100%. But that's such a heavy load, I feel like, to put on Devin's shoulders. And like you said last week, Gerald, then you miss out on the efficient offense that he brings. And you're asking somebody else to replace that offense to an extent when it's like he's so efficient that why would you trade one for the other?
You want to answer that? Or you want me to answer that? I'm going to push back on this whole, like, I don't give a shit if Chris Paul's the point guard. We saw that this year. Like, the Suns could manage when everybody was healthy. The Suns could manage being out there without Chris Paul or even with him on the court and not have Chris Paul be a dominant ball handler for the Suns, right? Devin Booker showed in the playoffs, especially against the Nuggets in games 3 and 4, that he could be every bit the facilitator that you need without having to dominate the ball the entire time, because Kevin Durant can bring the ball up. Different guys can bring the ball up. To me, it's not about running the offense. It's more about, if you're having to bring the ball up every single time, because teams try to wear you down, they throw guys at you, they try to throw doubles, and Devin has evolved. But because you have other ball handlers on the court, the weight of that is not as significant as it once was, like when Devin Booker was point guard in year 3 and 4. Like, that was a heavy weight because he was the only fucking guy that could do anything out there. So it's a big difference between then and now. So I don't really buy this. Now, the only thing I will say is that Chris Paul in the fourth quarter specifically will get you in the right place at the right time, set you up for success to make sure everybody's organized as they try to execute the offense, right? Devin Booker can do that to a certain degree, but Chris Paul's one of the best of all time to do it. It's not really a fair comparison. But Devin Booker's playmaking ability is so vastly superior to Chris Paul right now in his career that he can score, he can dish, he can do a variety of different things. He makes him a little bit more dangerous than Chris Paul just organizing the offense. So I just feel like at this point, if you just find ball handlers and guys that can take that weight off of Devin until you get into your half court set, and then maybe make Devin the primary focus, cool. But I don't think it's a necessity.
Well, I mean, if we're to believe that Kevin Young had an influence on last year's offense, some of what we saw with not having Chris Paul bring up the ball could have been aspects of what he did there. And to your point, there's a lot of, Kevin Durant can do some of the ball handling at certain points. Devin can. You sign a guy like a Dennis Schroeder to some kind of veteran minimum, you could have him out there, handle the ball a little bit, play good defense. Like, I don't think you need to get the star point guard. You don't need the big name there necessarily, because you do have a lot of guys. But when you go from Chris Paul to point guard by committee, I think you're going to notice it at certain points, even if Devin Booker is leading that committee.